Hi everyone. Just waiting for a few more people to come in, so then I can start to talk about my addiction and how my recovery worked, and where I'm actually at the moment with it. Bear with me because this is my first time going live on TikTok. As many of you will know, I've only just managed to get to the 1,000, so now looking forward to being able to share exactly how I've moved along with my recovery. Starting off really with a bit about myself, which I will start up shortly. I started drinking probably at a very early age of, drinking at the age of 12, other substances, things like that, just thank you. Just constantly never felt that I fitted in my parents, right down to the point that my mum and my dad split up. My dad won the custody battle, and then set up a bit of a scam with my sister to pretend that, because my sister knew that I'd always wanted to be around her to look after her, they set up something that that my sister wanted to go and live back at my mum's. So then I said I'd go and live back at my mum's just to be around my sister. And then the next day my sister done a runner and left me stranded there. Not stranded there because I love my mum to bits, but left me back at my mum's while my dad was waiting around the corner to pick my sister up. Made me feel very, very unwanted, unloved, unneeded. And from that, then when I was being naughty, get told, you go to your dad's, you'll go to your dad's. Just one of those things, just growing up, got into trouble, same as all teenage boys. Myself and my older stepbrother, we was going out doing the usual thing. We've got the fake ID, going out buying the bottles of cider, just normal things, Didn't ever think it was going to develop into a habit. Didn't ever think that it would end up pretty much costing me near enough everything. So I continued to drink. I've drunk my entire life. Went from, like I say, when I was 12, 13 years old, on a Friday afternoon, getting me pocket money sort of thing, going to the shop and buying my 10 Red Band and my bottle of Mad Dog 2020. Drinking that as quick as I could, just to get the best effects I possibly could before I had to get back home. Progressed from that, the bottles of Mad Dog weren't strong enough, so got onto little half bottles of whiskey, to the point found myself waking up under stairs and things like that, in blocks of flats, in bin cupboards in Lewisham, just roughing it for the night. Parents thinking that I was still in Stevenage, but no, I was off somewhere else the other side of London, having to bunk the train to try and get home. Just all kinds of, just typical teenage boy carnage, as you would have thought, but no. I then look, sorry, St Johnstone will win the league, absolute fantastic. Literally just worked my way through, just kept drinking constantly to the point at 15 years old, I was playing for a pub darts team, going out drinking with my dad, just constantly doing it all the time. And it just ended up, I got expelled from school. And when I got expelled from school, I got a job with my dad, because my dad said, well, you're not living here without work. So I got a job with my dad. At 16, I was earning £400 a week. What else could I do with it apart from pay 50 quid a week, dig money to them, and then drink the rest or do whatever else with the rest, Progressed on to going out, getting myself to the worst possible states that I could get myself into, progressing on to a point that I had to leave a town that I grew up in, due to the fact that I'd got myself into too much trouble, debts, problems, had myself put in hospital by people, jumped by groups of 10 people, just living a stupid life. then I was blessed. I met my wife. Um, didn't stop. The carnage didn't stop. Continued. Class A's. Everything was going wrong. It was, the lies, the cheating, everything. To the point that before, obviously, she was my wife. She was my girlfriend. She come over to. She was coming over to visit me the whole time I was cheating on her, and just causing absolute heartache and carnage to everyone, like I've done my entire life. And it was one of those things. Got myself involved in some real shit things at that time when Donna moved in with me. Some real bad places I got to. Luckily, Donna told me that she was pregnant with our firstborn, and that was pretty much a reason for me to move away from that idea of the smoking, things that I shouldn't have been. I'm being very, very cautious on some of the things I'm saying, due to the fact that my children are watching as well. But I continued drinking constantly. We worked in a pub that we lived above, to the point that Donna had to sell every single CD, DVD, and everything that she owned and that she'd collected throughout her life, just to pay my bar bill. Kind of low place I was in then, that we had to go and sell things for 10p, multitudes of 10p's, just to be able to clear that bill. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Always thought I had control of it, but got to a point that years and years and years went by of me fucking over my wife. We've got 3 beautiful kids together. She's always been there for me. Sorry, Arthur, mate. It was just a challenge for me, to the point where I constantly put myself and my drinking first, to the point my wife asked me numerous times, would I give up drinking for her, and numerous times I chose drinking over her. And she always stood by me, which I honestly don't know why she did. you know she could do so much better, but she's seen something in me, and she's continued to stay, even with the years and years and years of being unfaithful, the lies, the deceit, then we moved on to drinking in the mornings. I used to hide things like on a Sunday when I was cooking a roast dinner. I used to hide all of the boxes of stuffing and things like that, throw them in the bin, and say that I needed to go to the shop to get stuffing, just so that I could go and get a couple more beers and neck them on the way back. Just absolute carnage, just non-stop. But the problem for me was always, I never ever realised the I never really realised the actual truth in the saying that people were saying around me when I finally got into an AA meeting, and that saying was, "One drink's too many, but 1,000's not enough." I always thought I had control of it. I went to AA. My wife had left me due to me cheating again. She had left me. She'd taken my kids, gone to the in-laws' house. I went on an absolute carnage 3-day bender, to the point I don't even know what I was doing. Woke up pretty much after 3 days at home, cuddling in the toilet. A friend of mine suggested to me to go to AA and try it out, which I did. I went there with an open mind. The most daunting thing ever was walking through that door, and if anyone is ever in that position, I urge you, just take those steps. Walking through that door into that meeting, and just it doesn't mean you are definitely an addict, but just go in there with an open mind and listen to what people say, and look and see if you can identify to anything. I went in there, to be honest with you, I didn't really identify to much, because I was in very not early stages, but I wasn't as advanced in alcohol addiction as some of the people that were talking. And they said to me I was suffering with what's known as the yets, because I haven't lost my job yet, I haven't lost my family yet, I haven't killed anyone, I haven't crashed a car, I haven't done this yet. However, I left AA. Thought, do you know what? I've got this. I can do this all by myself. I can do it. I thought I had the strength. Everyone was talking about prayer, meditation, all that type of thing, and I'm like, this ain't for me. I'm not a religious person. I'm not interested in this. I come here to get sober, not come here to get blessed and religious. So I left AA. Thought I could do it alone. Lo and behold, bang, back drinking again. Not just back drinking again, but back hiding it, back lying, back messing with my wife's head, telling her that I wasn't drinking and that she could smell beer, or that it was someone walking past outside. All these crazy things that my mind had me believing that she was ever going to believe. She's no fool, like she would ever believe it. But I just kept going and going and going, and then on just kept going, kept drinking. I ended up at the very start of lockdown, lost the best job I've ever had, the highest paid job I've ever had. I was high flying, for everything was going exactly how I needed it to be, and lost my job at the start of the COVID lockdown. It hit me quite bad, but my wife turned around and said, my concern is, Will, I see you're going to be sat here now and you're going to start drinking earlier. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. She was right. Guess what? Started drinking earlier. Not to the point of, Wayne, just reach out, mate, seriously. Drop me an inbox, mate. I'll message you after. We'll have a chat. I was drinking earlier, like while everyone was still in bed. I was trying to have a drink, just to get a couple of beers down my neck before everyone else got out of bed. I'd go out to work on the car, even if it was just a case of doing anything to work on the car, just because I'd have a beer while I was working on the car. Or, I'd take my car through the car wash. I used to go to the car wash and have a beer while I was going through the car wash. Absolute, the worst. I hate people that drink drive. But I was so wrapped up in it myself that, the things that I was doing, the hurt, the carnage, I was so snappy towards my children. And then on the 13th of June 2021, it all came to a head. There's a big argument between myself and my wife. I'd had a few drinks. It came to carnage. I ended up arrested. I'm not going to go into it because it's still, unfortunately, it is still ongoing. I've ended up with bail conditions that I weren't allowed to come and speak to my wife, the lady I love, my soulmate, who's done anything for me. I was allowed to keep in contact with my children, which was good, because they were never ever at any risk with any of it. But I weren't allowed to go to the family home or anything like that, and it was just, you think to yourself, where can I go now? Like begging, borrowing to try and stay in hotels and things like that, just to be able to get by, just to the point, and then I got released from the police station. When I got released, I ended up, I dropped a message to someone that I knew from AA. Don't know why, because I'd never spoken to the bloke before. And I just said to him, mate, I need help. And do you know what? The man said to me, where are you? I'll come and meet you now. And he come and met me. I was still in my police station issue grey joggers, and he come and met me, took me for a Starbucks, went and got some clothes. I got some shorts and a t-shirt. And the t-shirt, funnily enough, I didn't realise it at the time, but now looking back, it's quite, I suppose it was like sort of, when you've been through the steps sort of thing, you would say it's some form of like it would be like a sign from a higher power. Um, the T-shirt said on it, "Tap out." Now, for those of you that don't know, tap out means to surrender. Um, and that was it. I'd come to the point then that I'd realised, my life was completely unmanageable, and I I was powerless over alcohol. I didn't realise it until then, when I walked out of the police station and I contacted that man, and I genuinely, hand on heart, believe that that man had an involvement in saving my life and my marriage and my family. You know, he met me, we went to Starbucks, we had a coffee. He talked me through the allergic reaction of an alcoholic and what happens. So I'll just explain that quickly because a lot of people aren't aware of what happens. Now, for a normal drinker, you'll have a drink, it goes into your body, you feel a little bit intoxicated, you can go home and go to bed, no problem. However, for an alcoholic, what happens? You have that drink, it creates a chemical allergic reaction inside the body when it mixes with chemicals inside your body, and that creates a craving. Then what happens is your mind tells you, just like every other craving in the world, the best way to get rid of that craving is to have a beer or have some alcohol. So you go and do just that. Then what happens is when you have that alcohol, instead of it killing the craving, what actually happens is it creates an even bigger chemical reaction inside your body, which makes that craving even worse. So then what happens is you need more and more and more. Hence, one drink is too many, 1,000 is never enough. And it's something that really stood by me now, that saying. And I never believed in it before, but now I see it myself. So this man put me into a WhatsApp group. It was called the Lifeline group. And do you know what? I've never ever in my whole time through any part of recovery or anything have I tried to get a sponsor, tried to do anything, tried to work the steps, nothing. I went to meetings purely to keep my wife happy. Completely the wrong reasons. You have to be doing it for yourself. You have to be 100% committed to your recovery. So I ended up that I went on this WhatsApp group and I got a message from a fella and said, "Listen, can I give you a bell?" I said, "Yeah, of course you can, mate, no problem." This fella's rung me up. We've had a chat for 5 minutes on the phone, and I thought, wow, it's like talking to myself, I literally, it was like I was actually in conversation with myself. And, I got off the phone and we'd arranged to go and meet up again at Starbucks. And I said to the missus, I said, "I'm going to meet this fella on Wednesday. And if he is anything like I think he is from hearing him on the phone, I'm going to ask him to be my sponsor." So we went off. He said to me, "Right, yeah, no worries, mate, I'll meet you there." He said, I'll be driving my Audi. And I said, "No worries, I'll be driving my," literally down to the point of the man is even married to a lady called Donna. We're the same age, we both drive Audis, we've both got addictions, and we're both married to Donnas. Literally, this is, the man's living my life sort of thing, and I'm living his. So we sat down and sat outside Starbucks, just talked, and he said to me, "Right, listen," when he said he agreed to be my sponsor, he said, "Yes, on one condition, I want you to pray and meditate." And I thought, here we fucking go. What I don't need, because I do not believe in did not be in the actual need to say there. Said to me I needed to do it, and I was struggling. I was still away, I weren't allowed to see my wife. I was in a real bad place. But I was going to bed every night, clean and sober. I ended up the very first time, and I'll remember this till the day I die. I got down on my hands and knees at the side of the bed, and I was shaking with fear because I didn't know what was going on in my life. I didn't know where I'd come to. I looked to the side of me and there was a full-length mirror there. And I literally broke in tears looking into that mirror, and I thought, what have you allowed yourself to come to? No, that point, and that was literally my rock bottom. You have to hit that rock bottom to be able to come back up. And do you know what? I thought to myself, well, no, I didn't even think to myself, actually, that's a lie. I got told, what have you got to lose, mate? Get on your knees and pray and work the steps properly. What have you got to lose? Don't do it. What have you got to lose? So I said, well, if I don't do it, I could lose my life, I could lose my wife, and I could definitely lose my children, because social services getting involved and everything like that, it just isn't worth it. So I thought, okay, now if I do it, what have I got to lose? Nothing. So I put 100% into the start of that recovery, started doing my prayers and meditation. Went through my step one very, very quickly with him. It was so quick that it was easy to do. At the moment, I'm currently doing my step four. I've done my resentments, realised that, to be fair, the majority of my resentment is aimed towards myself, you know, for the hurt, the carnage, and all the misery that I have brought on my family. To the point that, do you know what? I'm so surprised. And I'm not just surprised, but I'm blessed to have such a supportive family around me. I used to always slate everyone that was an adult for being on TikTok. You know, I hated this site with a passion. I literally used to tell my kids, I don't want to be on that TikTok. I don't like it. Anyone who's over 16 that's male and on TikTok should be on a register. I hated it. But you know what? It has become a massive, massive part of my recovery. Just down to the point of, you know, I've seen some little just recovery videos, just sharing for people saying what stage you're at with your recovery. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start doing that. And, do you know, I've built a recovery family through my local like meetings that I have around, my face-to-face meetings that I go to. You know, they're amazing. God, if I have a little tiny argument with anyone, they're there. You know, and it's true. Reach out. There's always someone there. But the joys of doing things via TikTok is, if I have an argument with someone at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when my UK recovery family's not there, I know that my American family or my South African or anything like that, there's always someone that you can reach out to, you know, and it is a real saving grace. It is so helpful to know that. But for myself, I just feel that by attending meetings, working the program, doing what I have to do, and using the tools that I'm given on a daily basis. You know, I'm not going to say that I'm perfect in this, you know, because I'm far from perfect. But I know one thing: people can go onto my videos that I've done, and you can see the difference between me. To the point of like the silly videos with my daughter, just being a part of their lives. You know, would I ever have thought there'd be a day that I would have been down, stood outside in public in the canal, at the side of the canal, where this used to be my quiet place, little seats down by the side of the canal. I used to go and sit down there and drink whenever I had an argument with the missus. You know, whenever anything went wrong, even the slightest little thing, I'd escape to this little comfy hole and I'd just go and sit there, and I'd just sit there and just drink. But now I go down there. I've been down there. I've done TikToks to Queen, Don't Stop Me Now. I've been down there. I've done prayer and meditation down there. Wow, that was amazing. You know, just to the point of, what have I got to lose? You know, because if I don't keep doing what I need to do, and don't keep using the tools that are given to me on a daily basis, and don't keep helping everyone, Yes, Wayne, I had the shakes permanently, especially whilst I was drinking. If I didn't drink in the morning, I used to have to try and, my missus was forever pointing it out. I used to try and make out that it was just something natural with me, but I shook like mad, even to the point that when I was actually in my first few weeks of recovery, the shakes, the sweats, the feeling sick, um, the using and drinking dreams, things like that. It's horrible, but the one thing I can say to everyone is that it does get better. 100%. I am today 50 days clean and sober. And do you know what? All the times I've been through attempted recoveries, I could never ever say this before, but not one single drop have I touched in those 50 days. It's literally been, I feel different. I feel so much happier. I feel like a weight, a burden has been lifted from me. But, in saying, using the word burden, I don't want anyone to ever, ever feel that, that when you're same with mental health, anything like that, things like self-harming, people don't see it, but it's an addiction. Any kind of addiction, you don't have to be an addicted to a substance. Alcohol is just the same as any kind of substance, but only in a liquid form. In fact, in my eyes, it's probably just one of the worst out there because it's so easily obtainable. You don't need to have numbers. You don't need to have, it's there in your face. You walk into a shop, it's there. It is the worst. All these other drugs are made illegal because of the fact they're not taxable. That's my opinion. Um, you know, Alcohol for me is something that I know I have an allergic reaction to. And a question to everyone that is watching, if you had a serious nut allergy that could potentially kill you, what would you do? Would you go and secretly eat nuts? Or would you stay away from them? Because that is exactly what we're talking about. It is a serious allergy that can potentially kill you. It's a progressive illness that gets worse. You think you're just doing 1, 2 cans just to relax. I used to say I'm only gonna have a beer when the football's on. I'd find myself trying to find lower league football just to find football so that I could have a drink. It didn't help for me. I won't say it doesn't help, but for me, cutting down was never an option. I couldn't do it. I tried. I failed miserably. And in me failing miserably, I failed my family miserably. But I am one of the lucky ones. I am here to tell the story and to share with you guys, to let you all know there is help out there and there is definitely a way to get better, but you need to be willing to give it 100%, just like you give your addiction 100%, and once you do give it 100%, you'll find that your addiction becomes your recovery. You get addicted to your recovery, and what happens then? You start to realize all of the blessings that you have in life, and it makes you realize I have had such a clouded marriage my whole time because I've done nothing but drink the whole time. Now I'm looking forward to being able to enjoy the rest of my life with my wife and my kids so that, I can be a positive example to my children so that I can actually make up for and make amends for all the hurt that I've caused my wife over the years of the carnage, the lies, the cheating, everything. It ain't going to be easy. I know that. And I can assure you, if she is on here watching, I know I've got my work cut out. But you know what? With God's help, I will do it. And you use God in the way that you feel. For me, I've never really liked using the word God until I spoke to a few people on some meetings, and I got told that God could mean group of drunks, good orderly direction, or gift of desperation. There's a lot of things that God can mean. Hi, Michael. Thank you, baby. One of the things that I missed out actually in that I really, really have got to share, and that comes down to higher power, and signs and spiritual things. Myself, like I said, never been one to believe in it. My wife Donna, massive, massive believer. She loves all this going to see mediums and things like this. And I used to tell her they're blagging you, they're using open questions. Now, what happened was, obviously we're doing our prayer. I'm doing my prayer and meditation, which now my little boy likes to do with me as well. And one day my daughter was looking on the ITV7 app. She's 13, so she's not really meant to be on there, but she's only doing it for a bit of fun. We know that it's literally she was looking at the ITV7 app. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's a little horse racing thing where you just pick the winners and things like that. It's completely free, so there isn't any actually gambling involved in it for her before I end up in trouble. And she found a horse, and that horse was called Alcohol Free. And yeah, it was quite funny. My wife Donna decided that she would put a little bet on it each way, just to, she only done a few, like a quid or something each way, because to be fair, this was a horse that should have been on Blackpool Beach. It really should. It had no hope. We watched the race. I jumped off of my seat. I pretty much rode that fucking horse home myself. It came first. I turned round to see my wife sat there in absolute tears. And I said to her, "Why are you crying?" And she said to me, "It's a sign. You can do this." I was like, okay, it's a sign. What the fuck does that mean? How can a horse winning a race be a sign? Alcohol free, okay, yeah, it's a name. Is it a coincidence? So I spoke to a few people in my meetings, is this a coincidence? And they said, coincidences don't happen in recovery, mate. You make your own recovery and you put in what you put in. It's entirely up to you. So, thought nothing of it. I was waiting for my sponsor to come pick me up and take me to a CA meeting. For those of you who don't know what CA is, it's Cocaine Anonymous. Absolute fantastic it was, just purely because it was for cocaine abuse and also any other mind-altering substance. And like I say, alcohol is a mind-altering substance, just in liquid form. So I was waiting for him to come pick me up to take me to this meeting. And I was just sitting there, I've always liked my old retro sort of cars, like your Vauxhall Novas, your Fiesta RSs, Escort RSs, that type of thing, probably because of my age. So I'm sitting there scrolling through on eBay, just looking at them. Next thing I get a message from my sponsor saying that he was outside. So I went out, got in the car, and he started a conversation with me, telling me about the cars that he really, really liked. And it was the exact cars that I had been looking at, sat in my house 10 minutes before. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, has he got some kind of tap on my phone or something? This is really, it's starting to freak me out. Just, and now, for me, now what I actually believe that to be was some form of higher power pulling me back towards my sponsor, because, I wasn't fully committing into my recovery the way that I needed to at that point. I was struggling, like I say, with prayer and meditation. And it was during the daytime, and I posted in the WhatsApp group, anyone know of any daytime meetings could do with an early meeting? I'm really struggling. This was early on. And someone give me some meeting details for a meeting in Scotland. So I jumped straight onto this meeting details. At the time, I was struggling with the prayer and meditation, like I say. So I jumped on this meeting, and this Scottish fella said, I'd like to welcome you to the 11 a.m. meeting. Today's subject is prayer and meditation. Oh my God, did I shit myself? How have I landed in a meeting about... I didn't tell anyone in the group, in the WhatsApp group, that I was struggling with prayer and meditation. I just said I was struggling. They give me details for a meeting. That meeting could have been about any kind of subject of recovery. But no, it was about what I was struggling with. Now, you tell me that's coincidence. I'm not having it. That was higher power working in the most mysterious ways. I now, hand on heart, believe, I don't know what it is, but I believe there is a power greater than myself that will pull me through. Okay, that is one thing that I realise. Even down to the point that this is, sitting there doing my step 4 resentments, struggling with what I should write down, chewing on a pen, not a clue in the world what I should do. Bang, all of a sudden, the new BMW advert comes on the telly. Now, for those of you that might not have seen it, the song to the new BMW advert is Coldplay, Higher Power. Do you know what? That just literally straight away, bang, kicked me straight into doing my resentments. Just hearing that song, it just gave me that. Why did that advert come on at that time where I was struggling? Again, it comes down to just being able to be an open-minded and realising there is a power greater than us. There is something out there that will restore you back to health. And I genuinely believe I'm not cured. Of course I'm not cured. I'm only 50 days sober, Do I believe I'll ever be cured? No. No, I truthfully believe that, to be perfectly honest with you, this could be with me for life. However, I know that as long as I keep doing what I need to do, if I keep picking up the big book, I keep reading, which I do struggle with. If I keep doing the things that my sponsor says to me, I will get there. I know I'm forever getting told off for saying I'm only 50 days. I know it's a massive, massive achievement. It was 7 weeks yesterday. Absolute buzzing. Another 10 days and I'll get my next chip. I can't wait. And that's the positives about it. Literally, I can't wait to get that. I love the fact, myself, my wife, my kids, the relationships I've got with everyone so far. Obviously there's still doubts. If I say that, if I'm angry and I say that I need to go out for a walk, of course my wife's going to worry. Why wouldn't she? She's had 14 years of me going off and drinking or doing whatever just to mask and hide the kind of hurt I had. I'm not going to make excuses for it. It started off as a choice when I was younger, and unfortunately the progressive illness got hold of me and it made it extremely hard to give up. Did I know that I had a problem? Not until I tried to give up. And that is one thing that I will honestly say, until I actually 100% decided that I wanted to give up, I didn't realise I had a problem. I always thought inside I was proud, I was strong. Was I afraid of it? No. I thought I could do anything, but I couldn't. I really, really couldn't. I couldn't give up the thought of getting up. There's just to walk to the shop just to get, just to be able to go and get drinks. I had my children lying to my wife, which I despise myself for now, and I should never ever have had them doing that. Down to the point that, for me, I am so lucky that I have every single person in my life today with the wrong that I have done to so many people. Um, you know, I just can't believe the amount of hurt and anger and aggression that I've put across my whole entire family. The shame that I've brought on my family. I remember a while back, I said I said to my mum that I wanted to do what was it, the dry January or sober October or something. And I asked my mum, will you sponsor me? And she's like, what the fuck? And no, nobody wanted to sponsor me. How you doing, Kano? Um, and I think part of the reason that my mum didn't want to sponsor me was because for her it was admitting that her son was an alcoholic. Um, I'll accept some people on to go live in a bit with me. I'll just right now just doing this. For me it was, I can understand now why she didn't want to share it. She didn't want to put across her Facebook. She was always putting on her Facebook asking people to sponsor her daughter for all these bike rides in America and all that. And I'm thinking she's just resenting against me. Why won't she do it for me? Why won't she do it for me? But she'll do it for other people, And it wasn't that. It was the fact that she didn't want to admit that I was an alcoholic. Just like I didn't. I thought, yeah, no worries, I can go a month sober. Of course I can. It's no problem, I can do a month, I can do that. Who am I kidding? I couldn't even go and work on the door at night without having a few drinks before I went, just so that I was on the level. It's... The positions I've put myself, my family in, even to the lowest, like I say, the drink driving and things like that, which, never, ever will I do again. I'm so, so happy to be 50 days sober today that, that I can see. I can't see the end of it, but I can definitely see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know that when I have people reaching out to me on TikTok, people that are struggling, or people that are on like less days or whatever, people messaging you, don't ever feel that you're being a burden to anyone, because do you know what? You never realise that you're actually helping that person, because now my sponsor, now that he's taking me back through the steps, he said himself, it's retraining him, it's giving him the opportunity to go back through it himself so that he can restudy it, resit his steps, so that he can make amends himself for things that he'd forgotten. It's not a burden. You're helping everyone who reaches out to someone. You are helping a person get through themselves. So please, 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 everyone, make sure if you're struggling, just reach out to someone. My inbox is open to anyone who's following me. I will do anything I can to give. Listen, I ain't the best to give advice, but I've got good ears. That I'll quite happily sit here and let you talk, and and I'll be happy to do whatever I can to give it. If you just need help finding meetings or anything like that, just drop me a message. Tell me where you are. There is a fantastic meeting online every single night at 8 o'clock, which I got told off for earlier because I wasn't on it. But to be perfectly honest, I had to prep myself for this. It was a real eye-opener. And that meeting has helped me massively. And the recovery family across TikTok, I just can't thank everyone enough. Everyone's sharing my videos, duetting my videos to help me get to the thousands, so that I can do this. And do you know what? Yeah, I've seen some laughing faces come up on the emoji things. Do you know what? I don't care, because if me doing this helps one person not pick up or not pick up a drink today and they make it to bed, then I'm blessed and happy. And that's what it's about for me. Oh, okay, so you can't choose them. I didn't know that. My daughter's just told me. See, I have no idea about TikTok. I've literally only been using it since I started recovery, really. At the end of the day, listen, just reach out to anyone you can. It's before you pick up or before you drink, albeit whether, I don't care who messages me. You could be literally from the other side of the world. You could be a crystal meth addict, you could be a weed smoker, you could be an alcoholic, you could be heroin, crack, whatever. Or you could even be just someone that's struggling with mental health, self-harming, BPD, anything like that. If you need a friend and someone to talk to, providing I'm awake, because I do turn my phone off when I go to sleep, because otherwise it will just keep going all night. But, as soon as I wake up, if I have a message from anyone, I will reply to you. As soon as I've done my prayers, I will get straight through to you. I will do anything I can to help any of you to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It is an absolute blessing. And, I just feel that going to those meetings, like I say, I'm never going to ever say that AA wasn't for me as such, because AA helped me find where I am today. But AA gave me that person's phone number to be able to contact that man, which got me into the WhatsApp group, which then led to me getting into the CA meetings. I love my CA meetings. For me, I find them so helpful. The people that I'm with, in my CA meeting that I go to on a Saturday, there's four of us. There's literally four of us, and we're all on the exact same sobriety dates. And do you know what? Not one of us wants to fall short of the other one. And I could tell every meeting, how far are we? How far are we? And I cannot wait till that day when we get our 60-day, and literally the four of us are going to jump up, and no doubt we are going to cheer. Because do you know what? I'm fucking proud. I've not been proud for years. But I am genuinely proud of myself. I feel it inside. I live in Milton Keynes. I've been around a bit, travelled around a little bit, but there is literally groups all over the place. You can find them online, you can find them through Google. Like I say, I'm willing to help out wherever you are. Just let me know if anyone needs help trying to find a group, because it can be quite hard this first time, To be fair, if I haven't got anything on and there's a Zoom meeting that you want to go on to that night, and I'm not working or anything like that, and you want to go onto a Zoom meeting and it's your first time, let me know. I'll jump on that meeting with you, so you've got that person. I'll be there with you, I'll go through it with you, the first meeting. Because you know what? I remember my very first AA meeting. I remember walking through that door, and I met this old fella. I walked in there. I walked in the door of the church twice, and I walked in once, walked back out, walked back in, walked back out. And then I walked in, and I walked into a meeting room, and there's just one fella in there. And he's just there with his back to me. And I walked in, he's turned around and said, "Hello, mate." I said, "You all right?" And he said, "You here for a meeting?" And I sort of like really shyly said, "Yeah." And he said, "It's your first one, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, it is." And do you know what? He come over, shook my hand, he put his arms around me and said, "You're in a safe place now, mate." And every single person that walked into that meeting, he introduced me to, and he introduced me to every single person. And I remember I sat there Obviously Tradition 7 come around, everyone's putting their money in to contribute and things like that. And he said, no, your first meeting is free, mate. You don't do that. They gave me a copy of the big book. And then it's come round to, in this meeting, we'd like to give chips for praise and for memorable dates. So I'm like, okay, this is great. See what's happening. And you know what? They turned around and said, anyone looking for a new way of life, 24 hours clean and sober. And I just sat there. I was sat next to this fella, and he's nudged me and said, that's you. And I was like, oh yeah, that's me. And this lady come over to me and she's like, get up, give me a hug. And I was like, what the fuck's wrong with all this lot, man? They're all clapping and cheering me, you know. And even now it brings a tear to my eye. I've got a lump in my throat, you know. That first meeting, I got that chip. The lady gave me a hug and they said to me, keep coming back, it works. Then we went on to the Serenity Prayer, you know. Obviously didn't know it, didn't have a clue about it. We stood there. It was quite an intense one at that meeting, you know. Everyone stood there holding hands to say the Serenity Prayer, and I thought, you know, I've hit a happy clappy clan. You know what? I'm in some kind of cult, you know, and that's how I felt. But you know what? It wasn't. These people were just happy, you know, to be happy to be alive, happy to be sober. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell, man? I can't understand why these people are so cheerful. I left the meeting. I got given a lift home. And no, I carried on. I was still drinking. I was going to meetings, like I said before, much like just going to the meetings just to keep my wife happy. But this time, I can't wait to go to meetings. I love going to meetings. I love the buzz that I get when I go to a meeting. My wife came to me and said, I want to come with you to a meeting. I said, all right, no problem. So I found out if our local Monday night meeting, found out if it was an open meeting. It was. So she came along. My wife suffers with depression and anxiety. She's probably going to go mad at me now for talking about her health condition. She don't like people knowing things, but oh well. It's all about being truthful and honest. This is so. We sat there and I shared, and you know, I was just sitting there. Everyone's gone around the room, and she's saying to me the same thing. You know, when we left, she's like, I felt like it was a cult at first, you know, but like everyone's sharing. She caught the power of a share. Listening to the person's chair, she's like, oh my God, all along I've been telling you, just go to the fridge, pick up a can of Coke instead of a beer. Because she thought it was that simple, because she didn't understand. And this is one thing that I urge anyone whose family is going through recovery with them. They don't understand. It's very, very hard to understand unless you've experienced it. Which is why recovery family is so strong. Because every one of them, you know, you think that they're going to be looking down on you. The only time, and this was said to me by someone the other day on the phone, the only time that you ever look down on someone is to pull them back up onto the ladder so that they can work their recovery. You never look down on anyone unless you are looking down to pull them back up. And do you know what? That really does ring for me now. And, you know, and I'm so grateful of some of the people that I've met in the 50 days of this recovery. I am absolutely blessed to, you know, to be where I am at, and to be able to be on here just sharing this with all of you, so that you know, trust me, it does get better. You know, it really, really does. I know people think that, you know, it's some kind of thing that you just say it gets better. Listen, I'm not trying to get people to come and be in my gang, so to speak, so that you could be there on a meeting. You do this because you do it for yourself. But I can assure you that if you do it, and you do it yourself, and you work the steps and you work the program, you get yourself a sponsor early on, you will see a different life. And that, I, hand on heart, will promise you, you will, if you give it 100%, you will see a better life. You know, I myself 100% see a better life every single day I wake up. Don't get me wrong, I still have my stressful times. Listen, it's not going to be stress-free. It's going to be hard. But one of the things I will say to you is, and I've seen it on TikTok actually, on one of someone's videos about when they were struggling. And that is, just remember one thing. God tests his strongest warriors. And for every one of you that is in there in recovery, whether you are one day, just starting 1 hour, or whether you are 3 years down the line, you are an absolute soldier and warrior. You can get through this. Just make sure that you reach out. On that note, I am going to go and chill because I haven't had any dinner yet and I want to go and chill out for a little bit. So listen, my inbox is open to every single one of you. Anyone, you know, share this live if you want. Share it to people, tag people, do whatever you have to do. I don't know how you do it on TikTok. I'm very, very much a TikTok virgin. Just do what you got to do. Share it, you know. Let's get it to as many people as we can do so that we can share the positive of recovery, because recovery works if you work it, you know, and that is the key part. If you work it, don't expect to be able to get clean and sober without working it. On that note, remember this: the elevator to sobriety is broken. Use the steps. Good night. God bless.